Yo, what's up guys, you're back with your man TechNick, your go-to guy for videos on the latest tech. Now today we're doing a camera review on the Vivo NEX 3. I actually did this while I was away in Hong Kong. Let's take a look at the specs. The main camera is a 64 megapixel raw lens, I promise you, with a binded 16 megapixel sensor. We have the ultra-wide cam with 13 megapixels with a 120-degree field of view, the telephoto lens with a 13 megapixel count with 2x optical zoom, and a nifty selfie pop-up cam which is rated at 16 megapixels and includes a flash too. This seems really awesome on paper. Let's see how it stacks up. This is TechNick, and without further ado, let's go. So guys, we're going to do a range of shots. Take a look at the bottom left hand corner there. We're going to start with the main 64 megapixel, then 16 megapixel bind, 13 megapixel ultra wide, and then we're going to jump into the 2x optical telephoto camera there too. So we're going to use those four on repeat for a while, obviously showing different photos over here. And let me know what you guys think of the background graphics. Because I filmed this in Hong Kong, I did put a bit of a Hong Kong flag in the background, especially with what's going on in Hong Kong at the moment between Hong Kong and China. I thought I would add it in as kind of a tribute. So let me know what you guys think of the protest there, and I'll show you some pics about it a little bit later on, so stay tuned for that. Overall, with the camera pictures, the 64 megapixel looks good, but the 16 megapixel bind shot looks a lot better. The ultra wide actually doesn't lose as much quality as most phones, and the telephoto looks surprisingly good with 2x. As I was talking about the protesting here, as you guys can see, give me liberty or give me death. I thought that this was pretty dark if you ask me, but I guess they have resorted to this kind of violence. And there is another one over here where it says, "We do this because we love our home," and I really do appreciate this one. It is nice and beautiful, and it made for an awesome shot here too. Keep in mind, this is a camera review, so we are looking at the details here. We're not just speaking about Hong Kong, guys. Let me know what you guys think of the quality down in the comments below, and take a look at the bottom right hand corner. I have divided this video into categories if you are new here. So we're starting off with day pics. There is a little time over there, and then next we'll move on to day video, and so on and so forth. This was an infinity pool at the Hyatt hotel I was staying at, and those guys were doing some window cleaning. I thought it just looked absolutely awesome. Now this is the harbor front over here. It looks really good, and I must say the Vivo captures photo quality color really well. You can see the 64 megapixel is very natural, but as soon as you move into the 16 megapixel, things look a little bit oversaturated, kind of like what you would see with a Samsung cell phone, an S10 for example, but it looks pretty good, no doubt. Now this was in a separate island from Hong Kong, still part of Hong Kong, called Lantau Island, and this was in Tai O. This was actually the biggest fishing village in Hong Kong. It housed 30,000 people, and it's such a tiny little island off the shore of Lantau Island, and now there is less than 3,000 population there. But I still do dig these houses on stilts in the water, and there is actually a picture after the hike that we took to the top of the mountain looking over there. And these videos really do capture a lot of life of our experience in Hong Kong. It was our first time going there, my wife and I. Look at this photo, guys. This is at the Temple of the Big Buddha over here, and look at the quality of this picture. I must say the ultra wide kind of dove a little bit there, but the 2x telephoto looks absolutely stunning. And guys, just to let you know, it was raining at this time, and the lens did get a little bit wet, and even with that, the phone is not waterproof, but it took some surprisingly good photos. I even had to do the selfie pop-up over there with the rain, but still it managed to hold up. So if you were interested in that info, there it is. Now this is the Big Buddha, one of the biggest in the world. It is definitely the biggest in Hong Kong, and it was actually put there to protect the people of Hong Kong. Yes, we do see a Nazi swastika on the chest over there, but guys, it was around a long time before the Germans embedded it as their logo in Buddhist religions. Now the zooming, we're going 5x and then 10x over here of this little temple, and you guys can see 5x look pretty good, but the grains that we do see with the 10x are not that good quality. Remember that when we do 2x, it is optical, so there is no loss in quality, but as soon as we go 5x, we are now looking at digital, but it stays on the telephoto camera itself. That cannot be changed, so we are using a lower megapixel count. It would have been nice if Vivo did opt for the 64 megapixel zoom, but it's okay. You can zoom in on those photos after if you'd like. Now, I didn't have time to do a 20x zoom since it was launched with a software update, but here's 15 times digital outside my apartment here in Beijing, and there's 20 times digital. It looks absolutely terrible, so I didn't feel too bad by not getting those shots in Hong Kong. Now, when it comes to portrait looks absolutely awesome when using a natural effect here, but when we go from binded, you guys can see over here, to portrait, you can see a lot of edge detection over there. It automatically switches to the telephoto lens when you do go ahead and take a portrait shot, but you can bring it back, as you guys will see with this cute little cow over here. As soon as we bring it back, we can use a 1x portrait shot on the main camera, though it is using that bind 16 megapixel count off that main 64 megapixel lens. Now, just to show you guys what it looks like, ultra wide of a person makes me look really long and funny, but the telephoto portrait looks great, and the 1x portrait looks really awesome, but if you do look closer, you can definitely see some edge detection. Now, this is at the top of the peak tram, which was really awesome. It's the highest point in Hong Kong with a 360-degree view of Hong Kong, and I must say the pictures came out pretty snazzy of me over here. I couldn't see too much edge detection, and I don't usually include this, but the panoramic shots that I got in Hong Kong looked absolutely awesome on the Vivo NEX 3 5G. Now, moving on to the video department, we do have 4K and 1080p both running at 60 FPS, which is really cool. As you guys can see at the bottom left, I do say RAW, and with Full HD over here, 1080p, I have said upscaled because this is a 4K video, so it is naturally getting upscaled when I export this clip to show you guys on YouTube. Things look pretty stable on both of them, but not as stable as you would want because there is no optical image stabilization, only electronic image stabilization. The cool thing though, just like the iPhones, is that you can record and jump into 2x zoom and back into regular zoom, but unfortunately there is no way of recording in ultra wide, though I did notice that you can record in ultra wide with time lapse. I'll show you guys that a little bit later, but at least we can do a 2x zoom while recording without getting too much obstruction and jitteriness between the two. I actually think it is slightly smoother than the new iPhone 11 does it, but the camera overall, the video quality, I think it's pretty good. If anything, it washes the colors out a little bit, and it is really not the most stable I have seen, but is a lot more stable than other phones I've seen at this price tag. And talking about the price tag, it is pretty expensive, guys. We're talking about 57,000 rupees, 5,700 RMB for the 5G version. That works out to roughly 750 US dollars. So it is not cheap by any means, but it is cheaper than a lot of other phones out there. I guess you could compare this to the OnePlus 7 Pro and the 7T Pro. Hopefully that comes soon. Now, we do have slow motion, though they are limited to Full HD, so this is 1080p at 240 FPS, then we are limited to 720p at 480 FPS, and that is the slowest you can go. Here is time lapse of the infinity pool area I showed you guys earlier, and this was going from the sunset all the way to the evening, so I didn't want to cut out too much because it looked absolutely stunning. Maybe the quality isn't on par, but at least we get Full HD plus resolution over here. Unfortunately, there is no 4K, though that would have been really cool. Now with this was just outside my hotel room over there, and as you guys could see, I could go into ultra wide in Full HD plus resolution at 30 frames per second in the time lapse and go back in over there, but you cannot do that while recording normal video. Now we are going from night mode off to night mode on here, showing some night pics. Look at the bottom right corner over there, and then I do go to ultra wide and telephoto. Neither of those support night mode. So as you guys can see here, bottom left corner, night mode off, regular, night mode on, regular. You can also only use night mode with the 16 megapixel bind shot and not the 64 megapixel raw shot, though it is using the same sensor, so don't expect too much of a detail loss. And honestly, 64 megapixels at night looks horrendous. I'll show you guys later when I take a pic or two of myself. Well, actually my wife took those pictures. Ultra wide is pretty unusable at night, and 2x optical doesn't look too bad. Night mode off here, regular. Night mode on brightens it up slightly. Doesn't really get rid of that light noise. To be dead honest with you, I can't really notice much of a difference with night mode off and on, and there is no option for night mode using ultra wide and 2x zoom. So honestly, just forget about night mode when it comes to the Vivo NEX 3. Hopefully they do improve this going forward with a software update. That would be really great. And moving on to the pictures that we have outside my hotel room. This is just night mode off and on, no ultra wide over here. And I'm just going to show you another 1 or 2 pictures with night mode off over here and night mode on. Sometimes they get a little bit blurry, though. You can see the moon at the top there, which looks really great. This was at that island I spoke to you guys about earlier, the fishing village. It looks really, really stunning at night. And here's pictures of me, 64 megapixel over here. Looks so much better with 16 as we just switched over there. Then we're going to move on to ultra wide, which looks terrible, taking a picture of a person at night. And this is really dark over here, guys, the darkest area I have done. So taking pictures on portrait doesn't look too great either, though taking close-up pictures of portrait looks pretty good, I must say. Now I did go ahead and compare night mode off compared to the iPhone 11 Pro Max over here, night mode on. The Vivo makes it brighter, the iPhone makes it dimmer, but the iPhone seems to get slightly more detail, though I think that the Vivo has a little bit better of a mix between the two. Now, night video over here, pretty similar to day video, 4K 60 FPS, 1080p 60 FPS, stabilization is pretty much the same. This is just coming down to how it looks at night. There is no night mode for video on the Vivo like we have seen on previous phones such as the Lenovo Z6 and Z6 Pro, though it didn't do too much of a good job over there anyway. And the 4K 60 FPS at night on the Vivo NEX 3 doesn't look the worst. It definitely doesn't look the best, but a lot of phones can't capture great night video footage, as you guys should know this. The quality of the lenses are not quite there for evening video footage. They have finally gotten night pictures a lot better on many phones such as the Pixel and the Huawei Mate series phones. Samsung is building up, but Vivo is not quite up there with their night photography or their night videography yet, though the pictures during the day and the video during the day look pretty good, except for some stabilization issues. Now we're going to switch over to the selfie cam. This is a 16 megapixel photo over here, so we're going to do a standard raw pic, and then we're going to jump into portrait. And I think that a lot of the portrait shots do have a lot of edge detection, as you can see on the beer can over there. Go back if you missed that. And sometimes it makes your face look funny. I have turned off all the beautify crap that they usually load up on Chinese phones, and it kind of makes your face brighter. It makes you look, I guess, prettier. It does do a pretty good job with portrait over here, and I'll show you guys with nighttime later. It does a good job using that flash as well. And we're going to go ahead and jump into video now as well, which will be cool.
Yo, what's up guys, this is TechNick in sunny Hong Kong here today. As you guys can see, this is the 1080p 60 frames per second and mic test of the selfie cam on the Vivo NEX 3. Let me know what you guys think of the quality of the video and the mic.
So let me know what you guys thought of that, but now jumping straight into selfie footage at night. We have the flash off there and the flash on. Sometimes it doesn't make you look really bright, but it actually retains a lot of detail with the flash on. It doesn't really make you brighter when you have a lot of light around you. When we get into a dark scene a little bit later, you'll see what I mean. It makes a big difference in brightening up the shot, but you lose the quality. So with a little bit of light around you is where it truly shines. It doesn't necessarily make you brighter, but the detail is definitely great in the shots. As you guys can see, it's pitch black over here. Flash off, flash on, you can see a huge difference, but the detail is lost over there, though you can actually see my face a lot more. This is selfie portrait with the flash off and selfie portrait with the flash on over here. As you guys can see, the detail is not the best. Now, where I'm kind of confused is that we have full HD 60 FPS using the selfie cam, though it kind of comes across to me as 30 frames per second. When you do make the switch, it does revert to 30. You can't change it to 60, but if you go on to full HD 60 on the back cams and then revert, then it does show 60. So I'm pretty sure it's just 30, but I've put 60 here because that is what it states. And in a really dark situation, turning the flash on makes a really big difference. As you guys can see over here, you can clearly see my face, and I think at night the video footage is better than the pictures taken at night using the selfie cam, provided there's no light around you. Guys, the Vivo NEX 3 is one awesome phone. Overall, I've really been enjoying it alongside the iPhone 11 Pro, which I've been playing with a lot as well. The cameras seem pretty good overall, not the best I must say, but it does take some pretty snazzy pictures, but I think that 64 megapixel cam still needs a lot of work. Cheers guys.